Which is better, the LG Stylo 6 or the Samsung Galaxy Note 20 Ultra? Well, in this video, we're gonna find out. Hi everyone, this is Kevin here, coming at you with my comparison between the LG Stylo 6 versus the Samsung Galaxy Note 20 Ultra. Now, the Stylo 6 was launched in May of 2020, and the Galaxy Note 20 Ultra was launched in August of 2020. So both of these devices are relatively new, and they both feature styluses. Now, the Stylo 6 is definitely focused more on the bottom end of the market, considering that this phone features an MSRP of $299, whereas the Galaxy Note 20 Ultra has an MSRP of $1,299. So the Note 20 Ultra is $1,000 more than the Stylo 6. So I think this video is going to be very interesting to see the various differences between these two phones to see if it's really worth paying the extra money for the Galaxy Note 20 Ultra. Now, taking a look at these two devices side by side here, you can see that the two phones are actually very similar in size. In fact, the Stylo 6 is slightly larger than the Note 20 Ultra when it comes to the overall form factor. Now, with the LG Stylo 6, we're getting a 6.8-inch display compared to a slightly larger 6.9-inch display with the Note 20 Ultra. Now, the display technology that both phones have are definitely very different. Now, I do want to let you know that with both devices, I do have the brightness set to 100% right now, but with the LG Stylo 6, we're getting an IPS LCD display compared to a dynamic AMOLED 2X display with the Note 20 Ultra. So we're definitely getting way better display technology with the Note 20 Ultra. We're going to be getting better viewing angles. The phone is brighter in general, and the colors are also going to be much better as well. Now, with that being said, the display on the Stylo 6 is actually pretty decent. It's certainly not quite as bright as the Note 20 Ultra, but at the same time, it certainly does serve its purpose, and it does get the job done. Now, as far as the maximum resolution for these two phones go, with the LG Stylo 6, the display is 1080p compared to 1440p with the Note 20 Ultra. However, one of the bonus features with the Note 20 Ultra is that this phone does support 120 Hz for the display, which basically means that the display will function at a higher frame rate. Now, if you do want to implement 120 Hz, you are going to have to use the Note 20 Ultra at 1080p. And with the Stylo 6, we just have one option of 60 Hz, and we can only use the phone at 1080p. Now, if you do want to use 1440p with the Note 20 Ultra, then you are going to have to set the phone to 60 Hz. Now, with the LG Stylo 6, we're getting a PPI of 395 versus a PPI of 496 with the Note 20 Ultra. And as far as the aspect ratio goes, with the LG Stylo 6, we're getting a 20.5:9 aspect ratio. So a very narrow but taller form factor here. And with the Note 20 Ultra, we're actually getting a 19.3:9 aspect ratio. So kind of a strange, unusual aspect ratio there. But the Note 20 Ultra is going to be a little bit shorter and wider compared to the Stylo 6. And then finally, with the LG Stylo 6, we're getting a screen-to-body ratio of 82.5% compared to a screen-to-body ratio of 91.7% with the Note 20 Ultra. So definitely when it comes to the display, the Note 20 Ultra is a lot better than the LG Stylo 6. But again, considering that the Stylo 6 is a budget option, I do feel like the display does get the job done and is definitely adequate. Now, up top here, there are some pretty big differences when it comes to the design for the front-facing camera. So with the LG Stylo 6, we do have a water drop notch at the top, and in that notch is a 13 megapixel front-facing camera. And with the Note 20 Ultra, we're getting a hole punch for the front-facing camera, and a pretty small hole punch as well. And in that hole punch is a 10 megapixel front-facing camera. Now, with the LG Stylo 6, we're getting 64 gigabytes of internal storage. And with the Note 20 Ultra, at least for this variant of the phone, we are getting 128 gigabytes. Now, both phones do offer microSD card expansion, but it is nice to see that we are getting double the amount of internal storage with the Note 20 Ultra. Now, there's no wireless charging with the LG Stylo 6, whereas the Note 20 Ultra does have wireless charging. Now, with the LG Stylo 6, we have a fingerprint sensor located on the back of the device, And with the Note 20 Ultra, we have an in-display fingerprint sensor, and we also have face unlock. Unfortunately, there is no face unlock with the LG Stylo 6. But let's try out the fingerprint sensors right now on both phones, starting with the Stylo 6. Awesome, very quick there. And now we'll give the Note 20 Ultra a try. So very fast as well. I would say that the in-display fingerprint sensor with the Note 20 Ultra is definitely faster than the rear-mounted fingerprint sensor on the LG Stylo 6. Now taking a look at the back of both devices, there are definitely some very big differences when it comes to the cameras. Now with the LG Stylo 6, we have a 13 megapixel main camera, a 5 megapixel ultra wide angle camera, and a 5 megapixel depth sensing camera for portrait mode photos. And with the Note 20 Ultra, the main camera is 108 megapixels. We have a 12 megapixel ultra wide angle camera at 120 degrees. We have a 12 megapixel periscope telephoto camera that does give us 5x optical zoom. And by using a combination of optical and digital zoom, we do get 50x hybrid zoom with the Note 20 Ultra as well. So definitely way more sophisticated photography options here with the Note 20 Ultra. And you can see that the actual camera module itself is way larger on the Note as well. Now here's how things look on the camera apps on both devices. Now with the Note 20 Ultra, we do have another ability here with the front-facing camera to fit more content into the frame. So that's definitely good for group selfies, for example. And then we also have portrait mode on both phones too with the front-facing camera, as I mentioned a second ago. So here's how things look with those nice blurred out backgrounds. And then flipping over to the rear cameras on both devices, this is how things look with the standard camera. Then from here on both phones, we can switch over to the ultra wide angle cameras. And it definitely seems like with the Note 20 Ultra, we can fit more content into the frame. So definitely a bit of a wider ultra wide angle camera. And then as a bonus feature with the Note 20 Ultra, we are able to zoom in. So this is with the 5x zoom. So this is an actual optical zoom, and this doesn't use the digital zoom. Now internally, there are definitely some very big differences between these two phones. I do want to mention as well that this variant of the LG Stylo 6 is the brand new factory unlocked variant of the phone. Originally, I had done a bunch of content with the Boost Mobile variant of the device, but I wanted to get the unlocked variant of the phone so that I could use it with a variety of different carriers. And the unlocked variant does have 4 gigabytes of RAM, compared to the carrier variants of the Stylo 6, which have 3 gigabytes of RAM. And with this variant of the Note 20 Ultra, we get 12 gigabytes of RAM, so significantly more RAM. There's also a big difference when it comes to the processors on both phones. So with the LG Stylo 6, we have the MediaTek Helio P35, and with the Samsung Galaxy Note 20 Ultra, we have the Qualcomm Snapdragon 865 Plus, at least in the North American market. Now I did run a benchmark test with both phones using Geekbench 5, and I'd like to show you the difference in scores here, and as you can see, there certainly is a large difference. So with the LG Stylo 6, I got a single core score of 170, compared to a single core score of 981 with the Note 20 Ultra. And then with the Stylo 6, I got a multi-core score of 964 compared to a multi-core score of 3266 with the Note 20 Ultra. So without a doubt, the Note 20 Ultra is going to perform significantly better than the LG Stylo 6, as you'd hope, right? Considering that it is definitely a more expensive smartphone. Now another big difference between these two phones is the maximum video recording resolution. So with the Stylo 6, we can take videos at up to 1080p, compared to the Note 20 Ultra, where we can take videos at up to 8K at 24 FPS. So definitely, if you're looking to get a phone for content creation, whether it's with photos or videos, I would say that the Note 20 Ultra is definitely the better choice of the two. Now, as far as battery capacity goes, both of these devices do have very beefy batteries, with the LG Stylo 6 featuring a 4000 mAh internal battery. Now the Note 20 Ultra has a 4500 mAh internal battery, so a little bit bigger. Now with both phones, we do get Android 10, and with the Stylo 6, we get LG Skin here, and we get Samsung's One UI 2.0 with the Note 20 Ultra. Another thing I'd like to mention as well is that both phones do feature NFC. So if you are someone that likes to use NFC, then you will be able to get it with either of these two phones. But keep in mind that with the Note 20 Ultra, we do get Samsung Pay, which gives you a variety of different features when it comes to doing mobile payments that you won't necessarily get with the LG Stylo 6. But now that we've gone over the major specifications of both phones, let's take a closer look at the hardware. Now, starting off with the fronts of both devices. With the Stylo 6, as I mentioned earlier, we do have a pretty decently large notch at the top. I mean, it's not like the biggest ever, but it's certainly a little bit on the bulkier side. And then at the bottom of the phone, we have a kind of thicker bottom bezel as well. And with the Note 20 Ultra, we have a very small hole for the front-facing camera and very small bezels all around. Now, taking a look at the left side of both devices, on the LG Stylo 6, we have the volume up, volume down, Google Assistant button, and slot for the SIM card and microSD card. And on the left side of the Galaxy Note 20 Ultra, we have nothing. Then taking a look at the right side of both phones, on the LG Stylo 6, we just have the power button, and that's it. And with the Note 20 Ultra, we have the volume up, volume down, and the power button. Then up top on both devices, we do have a noise-canceling microphone, but with the Note 20 Ultra, we do have the slot for the microSD card and SIM card. And then taking a look at the bottom of both phones, they both have the Stylus, they both have the USB-C port for charging and data transfer, they both have the microphone, but you can see with the Stylo 6, we do have a 3.5mm headphone jack, and we don't get that with the Note 20 Ultra. But let's now get into the moment that you've all been waiting for, and that is a comparison of the Styluses on both phones. Now, one of the newer innovations with the LG Stylo 6 is that we do get this click out, click in stylus, which does resemble all of the various Note phones that have launched in the past. But we get a pretty simple stylus here with the phone, and then with the stylus, we can write memos, you can draw, you can do all that fun stuff. And then with the Note 20 Ultra, you can do all those same things, but this stylus definitely features a lot more features and functions. For example, there is a button mounted on the side, which you can use for a variety of different things. Now, I don't want to go through all the different stylus-related features with the Note 20 Ultra because there are a lot, but you're going to get much better latency, for example, with this stylus experience compared to what we're getting with the LG Stylo 6. But again, you'd expect that considering that the Stylo 6 is definitely a much more affordable phone. Now here's a side-by-side with the Styluses, and the Note 20 Ultra stylus is definitely the larger one of the two as well, in addition to it being more advanced. And then to finish off our hardware tour of both phones, here are the back sides of both devices. You can see with the LG Stylo 6 we have the camera module and fingerprint sensor, and that's pretty much it. And with the Note 20 Ultra, we have that massive camera module, and that's pretty much all we get. Now you can see that both phones do pick up quite a bit of fingerprints and dried up sweat from my hands. So that is one of the consequences of having a phone with a reflective back. Let's now do a speed test comparison between these two phones. So we're going to start by pulling up the camera apps on both devices. 1, 2, 3, go. And definitely quicker at pulling up the camera with the Note 20 Ultra in comparison. Let's now pull up Google Chrome on both phones. So 1, 2, 3, go. And way faster with the Note 20 Ultra in comparison here. Let's now go to yahoo.com. 1, 2, 3, go. And again, much faster with the Note 20 Ultra in comparison. Let's now go to engadget.com. 1, 2, 3, go. And again, much faster with the Note 20 Ultra, as you'd expect. But I wanted to give you a good idea of how these two devices would perform side by side here. But let's now go to this article. 1, 2, 3, go. And once again, way faster with the Note 20 Ultra. So in conclusion, which of these two phones is a better choice for you? Now, the Note 20 Ultra is definitely a phone designed for the power user out there, as it is one of the most powerful phones out there, and it also has the most features of pretty much any device. And with the Stylo 6, we do get many similar stylus features, since we do indeed have a built-in stylus. It really doesn't measure up when it comes to performance, photo and video quality, anything really. So I would say that if you're someone that doesn't know whether or not you think you're really going to need a phone with a stylus, but you want to give it a try, then the Stylo 6 is definitely a good place to start. And then if you get the Stylo 6 and then you kind of outgrow it, then I would consider going for the Note 20 Ultra. Now, if you currently have a flagship phone and you're used to having flagship performance, then unfortunately, with the MediaTek Helio P35 with the Stylo 6, you probably will notice a big decrease in general performance, again, if you are switching from a flagship. So if you currently have like a Galaxy S9, for example, then moving on to the Galaxy Note 20 Ultra would probably make you feel a lot more at home. But I hope you enjoyed this comparison between these two phones, and I'll see you in the next one.